Sudan woke up to these scenes on Saturday. Months of tensions between the National Army and the paramilitary group Rapid Support Forces lapsed into a full-blown conflict. Clashes over the presidential palace, military bases and airports in and outside the capital Khartoum soon spilled onto the streets with civilians caught in the crossfire. What lies beneath is a power struggle between Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and RSF leader Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemedti, two powerful generals and former allies. Back in 2019, they jointly toppled President Umar al-Bashir, and 2 years later, they orchestrated a coup that stopped Sudan's democratic transition and led to mass protests. Since then, Burhan has been the de facto president and Hemedti his deputy. But they recently fell out over a dispute on how to integrate the RSF paramilitary into the National Army. Burhan has since called RSF a rebel group and ordered its dissolution. And on Tuesday, after much bloodshed, the army claimed that the calm is being restored.
Now the situation is totally under control. That was the first step and was aiming to shock absorb, control the situation and prepare the circumstances for the next stage. It was a fully successful step.
Meanwhile, Hemedti has accused Burhan of bombing civilians. On Monday, the RSF leader said the forces will not stop until Burhan is brought to justice. He also tweeted, "We are fighting for the people of Sudan to ensure the democratic progress, for which they have so long yearned." But Hemedti isn't quite known as a pro-democracy fighter. He led the Janjaweed militia during the Darfur conflict in the 2000s. And as the war killed around 300,000 people and displaced millions more, the International Criminal Court accused the militia of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. Activists also blame Hemedti's RSF for killing dozens of pro-democracy demonstrators during the 2019 uprising. And while the general now sees himself as the savior of the Sudanese, the people say this conflict has nothing to do with them.
I have no sides when it comes to this because we've seen bloodshed from both sides. So in the middle, we're just caught in the middle, and I don't have a preference. It's like just this is our new normal now.
Even if civilians do not take sides, they are suffering the most. Power services are cut across Khartoum, with food and water running out. The few hospitals still operating are struggling to cope with casualties due to shortages of medical supplies. And as the clashes rage, aid deliveries are simply impossible.
If people cannot move, if our staff, WFP, UNICEF, UNDP, WHO and other staff cannot move, if they have to hunker down in their residences or in shelters, if their vehicles have been looted, if their offices have been destroyed, or if their offices and the guest houses are in the crossfire between the firing lines, then they are simply not able to deliver.
Despite international calls to stop the violence, there seems no end in sight. And as the two generals tussle for power, the Sudanese people are dying, and so are their hopes for peace and democracy.